I'm clutching my side in the emergency room, blood seeping through my shirt. The pain is unbearable, stabbing through my abdomen like hot knives. I've been waiting for 45 minutes, watching others get called before me. A nurse walks past. I try to speak, but my voice comes out weak. Please. I'm bleeding. She glances at me, then at her clipboard. We'll get to you soon, honey, soon. That word haunts me as I press harder against my wound. The chairs are uncomfortable, the fluorescent lights buzz overhead, and I'm starting to feel dizzy. I can taste metal in my mouth, then I see him. Dr. Ethan Cross. My ex-boyfriend. He's walking through the corridor in his pristine white coat, talking to another doctor. Our eyes meet for a split second. I see recognition flash across his face. He looks away. Just like that. He turns and walks in the opposite direction, disappearing behind swinging doors. My heart sinks deeper than the pain in my gut. Ethan knows I'm here. He saw me bleeding. And he chose to walk away. Ethan and I dated for 3 years. We met in college, me studying healthcare administration, him in primed. He was charming, ambitious, always talking about saving lives and making a difference. I supported him through medical school. I worked 2 jobs while he studied, made sure he ate, helped him practice for exams. When he got accepted into his residency program, I was the first person he called, but success changed him. Once he became Dr. Cross, the kindness faded. He started coming home late, dismissing my concerns, treating me like I was beneath him. You wouldn't understand, he'd say. You're not a doctor. The breakup was brutal. He told me I was holding him back, that I wasn't sophisticated enough for his new circle. He said I lacked ambition, that I'd never amount to anything significant. I moved out that night, heartbroken and humiliated. That was 8 months ago. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, finding strength I didn't know I had. I got a better job at a healthcare consulting firm, working behind the scenes. Now, seeing him ignore me while I'm bleeding, it's not just cruel. It's unforgivable. Finally, after another 20 minutes, a nurse calls my name. I stumble to the examination room, feeling faint. The nurse takes my vitals, her face tightening with concern when she sees the blood. How long have you been waiting? She asks, unwrapping gauze. I tell her over an hour. Her jaw clenches. This should have been triaged immediately. You have a significant laceration here. A different doctor comes in, Dr. Patel, according to her badge. She's professional, efficient, immediately ordering tests and starting treatment. She asks what happened. I explain the kitchen accident, the knife slipping while I was cooking. She stitches me up with careful hands, prescribing antibiotics and pain medication. You lost quite a bit of blood, she says quietly. You should have been seen much sooner. I'm sorry for the wait. I don't mention Ethan. Not yet. I just nod, feeling the exhaustion wash over me. Dr. Patel gives me aftercare instructions and a follow-up appointment. As I'm leaving, I see Ethan again in the hallway. This time, he doesn't look away. He stares right at me, his expression unreadable. Then he turns back to his conversation, laughing at something his colleague said. At home, I can't sleep. The pain medication helps physically, but mentally I'm racing. Ethan saw me bleeding and did nothing. In a hospital, where he took an oath to help people, I keep replaying that moment. The recognition in his eyes, the deliberate turn away. It wasn't accidental. It was a choice. A choice to let me suffer because of our history. The next morning, I call my best friend Rachel. She's a lawyer, specializing in medical malpractice. When I tell her what happened, there's a long silence on the line. Emma, she finally says, using my full name, which means she's serious. That's medical negligence. Possibly even abandonment. If you want to pursue this, I can help. I hesitate. Part of me wants to forget it, move on. But another part, the part that remembers every cruel word he said, every way he made me feel small, that part wants justice. What would I need to do? I ask. Rachel explains the process: documentation, witness statements, medical records, filing a complaint with the hospital and potentially a lawsuit. It sounds overwhelming. But then I remember his face, that cold dismissal. Let's do it, I say. Rachel moves fast. Within days, she's filed complaints with the hospital's patient advocacy department and the state medical board. She requests my complete medical records, including timestamps of when I arrived versus when I was treated. The records paint a damning picture. I arrived at 6:47 p.m. with visible bleeding and severe pain. I wasn't triaged until 7:52 p.m. That's over an hour for what Dr. Patel classified as a priority 2 emergency. Rachel also gets the security footage. There's Ethan, clear as day, making eye contact with me at 7:15 p.m. He was standing 15 feet away. The video shows him turning and walking in the opposite direction. This is gold, Rachel mutters, reviewing the footage. He clearly saw you. He's a physician in that emergency department. He had a duty to help or at least alert someone to your condition. She interviews other patients who were in the waiting room that night. 3 of them remember me, remember how long I waited, remember the blood. One woman even approached the desk on my behalf. Rachel builds the case methodically, like constructing a fortress brick by brick. I watch her work, grateful but also nervous. This feels bigger than I imagined. 2 weeks later, the hospital contacts me. They want to schedule a meeting, me, Rachel, hospital administration, and their legal team. Rachel warns me it might get intense. The meeting room is sterile and cold. On one side sits the hospital's CEO, their chief legal counsel, and the head of emergency services. On our side, it's just Rachel and me. They start with apologies. We're deeply sorry for your experience, Miss Parker. We take patient care very seriously. The CEO's voice is smooth, practiced. I can tell he's done this before. Rachel doesn't let them off easy. She presents the evidence, the timestamps, the video footage, witness statements. Dr. Cross saw my client actively bleeding and chose to walk away. That's not an oversight. That's deliberate negligence. The legal counsel shifts uncomfortably. Dr. Cross claims he didn't realize the severity of her condition. He thought she was being attended to. Rachel pulls out a still frame from the video. The blood was visible on her shirt. He looked directly at her. He knew. The tension thickens. They offer a settlement, a modest sum to resolve this matter quietly. Rachel looks at me. I shake my head. This isn't about money. Not entirely. I want more than a settlement. I want accountability. I want Ethan to face consequences for his actions. Rachel explains that can be difficult. Doctors are protected by hospital insurance, and medical boards move slowly. But she also mentions something interesting. There's an investigation happening, she says carefully. The medical board is looking into Dr. Cross's conduct. If they find violations, he could face disciplinary action. Meanwhile, I focus on healing. The physical wound closes within weeks, leaving a thin scar. The emotional wound takes longer. I have nightmares about bleeding out in that waiting room while Ethan walks past. I throw myself into work. My consultant firm handles hospital efficiency and patient care optimization. Ironically, I'm now analyzing the same systems that failed me. I notice patterns, inefficiencies, places where patients fall through cracks. My boss, Jennifer, notices my dedication. Emma, you've been producing exceptional work lately. I'm putting you on the St. Mary's Hospital project. They want to overhaul their emergency department protocols. St. Mary's. Ethan's hospital. The universe has a twisted sense of humor. But I accept the assignment. Maybe it's fate. Maybe it's an opportunity. Walking back into St. Mary's feels surreal. This time, I'm wearing a business suit, carrying a tablet, analyzing their systems. I'm not a bleeding patient waiting for help. I'm a consultant they hired. I spend the first week observing. I watch patient flow, track wait times, interview staff. The emergency department is understaffed and disorganized. Nurses are overwhelmed, doctors are stretched thin, and patients wait far too long. I don't see Ethan during my initial visits. He's probably working different shifts. Part of me is relieved. Part of me wants to confront him. During interviews, I hear interesting things. Nurses whisper about certain doctors who care more about their reputation than patients. One nurse, older and tired-looking, says quietly, "Some doctors here forget why they got into medicine." I take detailed notes, building my report. The emergency department needs structural changes, better triage protocols, more staff, improved communication systems. I propose a complete overhaul. Jennifer loves my recommendations. This is exactly what they need. You're presenting to the board next month. They'll probably want to implement these changes immediately, next month. That means Ethan will likely be the doctor I'm indirectly reporting on. The thought makes my pulse quicken. Rachel calls with an update. The medical board investigation has expanded. Apparently, I wasn't Ethan's only questionable case. They found 2 other incidents where he showed poor judgment or neglected patient care. One was another ex-girlfriend, Rachel says. She filed a complaint years ago but dropped it. Now she's willing to talk. The other was a patient he had a personal conflict with. Pattern of behavior, Emma. My stomach twists. I'm not the only one he's hurt. This is bigger than our personal history. This is about a doctor who lets personal feelings interfere with professional duty. The medical board schedules a formal hearing. Ethan will have to defend his actions. Rachel will be there representing me. She asks if I want to attend. I think about it. Facing him in that setting, with official scrutiny, feels daunting. But I also want him to see me, not as the bleeding ex he could ignore, but as the woman holding him accountable. I'll be there, I tell her. Rachel smiles. Good. Let's make sure he remembers this moment for the rest of his career. Meanwhile, the lawsuit moves forward. The hospital wants to settle more aggressively now, offering 3 times their initial amount. Rachel advises me to wait. The hearing will strengthen our position, she says. The board presentation at St. Mary's arrives. I'm nervous but prepared. I've spent weeks crafting this proposal, ensuring every detail is perfect. This could change how they treat emergency patients. The boardroom is intimidating, long mahogany table, leather chairs, stern-faced executives. Jennifer introduces me, highlighting my credentials. I launch into my presentation, showing data, graphs, testimonials from patients and staff. Halfway through, the door opens. Ethan walks in. Our eyes meet across the room. He freezes momentarily, then takes a seat at the back. His face is carefully neutral, but I see his jaw tighten. I don't falter. I continue presenting, my voice steady. I show the inefficiencies in their current system, the long wait times, the triage failures. I reference my own case, anonymously, as an example of what goes wrong. A patient with significant bleeding waited over an hour before treatment, I explain. This isn't just bad practice. It's dangerous and potentially fatal. Ethan shifts in his seat. Does he know I'm talking about myself? Can he connect the dots? The board members nod seriously, taking notes. I present my solutions: improved triage protocols, additional staff, better communication systems. The board asks questions. I answer confidently, drawing from research and real experience. After the presentation, the board deliberates briefly and then the CEO speaks. Miss Parker, this is exactly what we need. We want to implement your recommendations immediately. We'd also like to offer you a permanent position, Director of Emergency Services Operations. I'm stunned. Director? That's a significant role. It means overseeing the entire emergency department, implementing changes, managing staff. It means working directly with the doctors and nurses. It means working above Ethan. I need to think about it, I stammer. The CEO nods. Of course. Take a few days. But we're serious about making changes, and you're clearly the right person to lead them." As everyone files out, Ethan approaches me. My heart pounds. "This is our first real interaction since that night in the waiting room, Emma," he says, his voice low. "What are you doing?" I meet his eyes. "My job. Improving patient care." "Why?" He glances around, making sure we're alone. "You know that presentation criticized our current protocols. That reflects on the doctors here, it reflects on poor systems," I correct him. "Unless you're admitting you're part of the problem." His face hardens. "This is about what happened between us, isn't it? You're here for revenge." I smile coldly. "No, Ethan. I'm here because I'm good at what I do. Unlike some people, I actually help people." I accept the position. It feels right, turning my worst experience into meaningful change. Jennifer is proud, congratulating me on the promotion. My parents are ecstatic when I tell them. My first day as director is surreal. I have an office, a team, actual authority. I spend the morning meeting with department heads, reviewing current protocols, and planning implementation strategies. The nurses welcome me warmly. Many remember me from my consulting visits. They're excited about the changes, eager for better systems and the more support. The doctors are more reserved, especially Ethan. He avoids me when possible. In meetings, he sits far away, rarely speaking. When he does, his comments are clipped and professional. The tension is obvious to everyone. My assistant, Tom, is a godsend, organized, efficient, and brutally honest. "Dr. Cross is not happy about your appointment," he mentions casually one afternoon. "He's been complaining to other doctors." I'm not surprised. "What's he saying?" Tom shrugs. "That you're unqualified, that this is personal, that you'll ruin the department." The usual resistance to change, but not everyone agrees with Ethan. Dr. Patel, who treated me that night, stops by my office. "I'm glad you're here," she says sincerely. "We've needed these changes for years. Don't let anyone intimidate you." Her support means everything. The medical board hearing happens on a cold Tuesday morning. Rachel and I arrive early, sitting in the waiting area outside the hearing room. My hands are sweaty despite the air conditioning. Ethan arrives with his lawyer, a sharp-looking man in an expensive suit. Ethan looks tired, stressed. When he sees me, something flickers in his eyes. Surprise? Fear? I can't tell. Inside the hearing room, it's formal and intimidating. The medical board consists of 5 physicians and 2 public members. They sit behind a raised desk like judges. The board chair explains the proceedings. They'll review the evidence, hear testimony, and ask questions. Ethan will have the opportunity to defend himself. They start with my case. Rachel presents the evidence, timestamps, video footage, witness statements. The board watches the security video, seeing Ethan clearly recognize me and walk away. "Dr. Cross," the board chair says, "can you explain your actions on the evening in question?" Ethan clears his throat. "I was responding to a code blue on the other side of the department. I didn't have time to stop," Rachel interjects smoothly. "The code blue was called at 7:23 p.m. You walked past Miss Parker at 7:15 p.m. The timeline doesn't match," Ethan's lawyer jumps in. "But the damage is done." The board members exchange glances, their expressions skeptical. The hearing continues for hours. They bring up the other cases, the ex-girlfriend who complained, the patient he had conflict with. Patterns emerge. Ethan's personal feelings affecting his professional judgment. One board member, an older physician, looks particularly stern. "Dr. Cross, we expect physicians to put patient welfare above personal considerations. Always. Can you assure this board you understand that principle?" Ethan nods quickly. "Yes, absolutely. I made a mistake. I was stressed, overwhelmed. It won't happen again." "A mistake?" another board member asks. "Or a pattern of behavior?" Silence. Ethan's lawyer whispers to him urgently. The board deliberates privately, asking us to wait outside. 30 minutes later, They call us back in. The board chair reads their decision. Dr. Ethan Cross, we find your conduct in these incidents fell below acceptable standards of medical practice. We are imposing a 1-year probation, mandatory ethics training, and a formal reprimand on your medical license. Ethan's face goes pale. A reprimand on his license is serious, it's public record, visible to future employers. His lawyer starts to object, but the board chair cuts him off. This hearing is concluded. Rachel squeezes my hand. We won. Not completely, but enough. Ethan will face consequences. His reputation is tarnished. The hospital settlement comes through the following week. They offer a substantial amount, 6 figures, to resolve the lawsuit. Rachel negotiates additional terms, a formal apology, policy changes, and a commitment to improving emergency department protocols. I accept. The money is secondary. What matters is the acknowledgement. Yes, we failed you. Yes, we'll do better. The formal apology is published in their patient newsletter and posted in the emergency department. At work, news of the medical board hearing spreads quickly. Hospital staff whisper about it, especially in the emergency department. Some doctors sympathize with Ethan. Others see it as deserved. Dr. Patel approaches me privately. I heard about the hearing. I'm glad you got justice. For what it's worth, I think you're making this place better. Her words bolster me. I continue implementing changes, new triage protocols, additional nursing staff, better communication systems. The emergency department slowly transforms, wait times decrease. Patient satisfaction scores improve. Nurses report feeling more supported. The data proves the changes are working. Even skeptical board members are impressed. But Ethan grows more resentful. He challenges my decisions in meetings, questions my authority, and makes snide comments about my qualifications. It's petty and transparent. Tom warns me, he's trying to undermine you. Be careful. One evening, I'm working late in my office when there's a knock. It's Ethan. My muscles tense immediately. Can we talk? He asks. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. He sits, looking uncomfortable. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then he sighs deeply. I know you think I'm terrible, he begins. Maybe I am. But Emma, you have to understand, I was overwhelmed that night. I had 3 critical patients. I wasn't thinking clearly. I lean back. You saw me bleeding and walked away. That's not being overwhelmed. That's being cruel. It was a mistake, he insists. A terrible mistake. But did I really deserve to have my career destroyed? Your career isn't destroyed, I counter. You're on probation. You have a reprimand. But you're still practicing medicine. I, on the other hand, could have died in that waiting room. He flinches. Don't be dramatic. You had a cut. You weren't dying, a cut that required 15 stitches, antibiotics, and resulted in significant blood loss. Dr. Patel said I should have been seen immediately. But you decided our personal history was more important than your medical duty. Ethan stands abruptly. Fine. You got your revenge. You sued the hospital, ruined my reputation, and now you're my boss. Congratulations, Emma. You win. He storms out. I sit in the silence, heart racing. This isn't about winning. It never was. The confrontation bothers me more than I want to admit. That night, I call Rachel. Did I go too far? I ask. Ethan thinks I destroyed his career for revenge. Rachel is quiet for a moment. Emma, you held him accountable. That's not revenge. That's justice. He made choices that hurt you and potentially endangered your life. The consequences are his, not yours. Her words help, but doubt still lingers. I think about my motivations. Was this really about patient safety? Or was part of me seeking payback? The next day, I meet with Dr. Patel for coffee. I need perspective from someone inside the medical world. She listens to my concerns, then shakes her head. Emma, you improved this hospital. Emergency department wait times are down 30%. Patient satisfaction is up. You're saving lives through better systems. That's not revenge. That's impact. She's right. The data doesn't lie. My work is making a real difference. Patients are safer now. That's what matters. Still, Ethan's words echo. You're my boss now. It's true. I have authority over his work, his schedule, his evaluations. That power dynamic is complicated given our history. I decide to recuse myself from his direct evaluations. I ask the chief of emergency medicine to handle Ethan's performance reviews. It's cleaner, more ethical. Months pass. The emergency department continues improving. We hire more nurses, implement new technology, and create better communication protocols. The changes become standard practice. I receive recognition, a hospital-wide award, a feature in a healthcare management magazine, invitations to speak at conferences. My career is thriving in ways I never imagined. Ethan, meanwhile, completes his probation and ethics training. I see him occasionally in the hallways. He's quieter now, less arrogant. The experience humbled him, maybe even changed him. One afternoon, there's a major emergency, a bus accident with multiple casualties. The emergency department is chaos. I'm coordinating with staff, managing resources. When I see Ethan, he's working on a critically injured patient, barking orders to nurses, performing a life-saving procedure. Despite everything, he's a skilled physician. In that moment, I remember why he became a doctor. After the crisis stabilizes, Ethan finds me. We did good work today, he says simply. I nod. The team did excellent work. He hesitates, then extends his hand. Thank you. For what you've done here. The new protocols, the staff, the resources. It saved lives today. I shake his hand, surprised. Is this an apology? An acknowledgement? Whatever it is, it feels like closure. The hospital board approaches me with a new opportunity. They want to expand my role, not just emergency services, but hospital-wide operations. It's a vice president position, a significant promotion. I'm overwhelmed. A year ago, I was bleeding in a waiting room. Now, I'm being offered a VP role at a major hospital. The transformation is dizzying. I discuss it with my parents. My mom, always practical, asks, "Will it make you happy?" My dad adds, "You've worked so hard. You deserve this." Rachel is ecstatic. Take it. This is huge, Emma. She's been with me through everything, the lawsuit, the hearings, the tough days. Her support never wavered. I accept the position. My new office is larger. The responsibilities greater, the impact wider. I'm now overseeing multiple departments, implementing hospital-wide improvements. Ethan is just one doctor in one department. Our paths cross less frequently. The personal drama fades into the background, replaced by professional respect, if not friendship. Tom, now my senior assistant, jokes, from bleeding patient to VP. That's one hell of a comeback story. I laugh, but he's right. It is a comeback story. My story, one I wrote myself by refusing to stay silent, by demanding accountability, by turning pain into purpose. A year after the incident, I'm invited to speak at a healthcare conference about patient advocacy and hospital improvement. Standing on that stage, I share my story, anonymously at first, then revealing myself. I was the bleeding patient ignored in the waiting room. I tell the audience. Today, I'm the VP of operations at that same hospital, ensuring no patient experiences what I did. The room is silent, then bursts into applause. After my speech, people approach me, patients with similar stories, healthcare workers wanting advice, administrators seeking guidance. One woman, older with kind eyes, grips my hand. Thank you for speaking up. My son died because he was ignored in an emergency room. I wish someone like you had been there. Her words break my heart and fuel my resolve. This work matters. These changes save lives. The personal pain I endured has purpose. Later, I see a familiar face in the crowd. Ethan. He's attending the conference, standing at the back. Our eyes meet. He nods slowly, respect, acknowledgement, maybe even admiration. He doesn't approach me. He doesn't need to. That nod says everything. I changed not just a hospital, but possibly him too. That's more than revenge. That's transformation. Back at St. Mary's, I continue pushing for improvements. I implement mental health support for staff, create better work-life balance policies, and establish patient advocacy programs. The hospital becomes a model for others. Other hospitals reach out, wanting to learn from our success. I conduct workshops, share our protocols, and help them implement similar changes. My influence extends beyond St. Mary's walls. Rachel and I remain close friends. She's proud of what we accomplished together. You turned a lawsuit into a movement, she says over drinks one evening. Dr. Patel gets promoted to Chief of Emergency Medicine. She credits me for supporting her, but I know it's her skill and dedication. We work closely now, continuing to improve patient care. Ethan transfers to another hospital. I hear through Tom that he wanted a fresh start, somewhere without our complicated history. I don't blame him. Maybe we both need distance to fully move forward. On my last day seeing him before he leaves, he stops by my office. Emma, I owe you an apology. A real one. What I did that night was inexcusable. You held me accountable when others wouldn't. Thank you. I'm surprised by his sincerity. I hope you learned from it, I say quietly. He nods. I did. I'm a better doctor because of what happened. A better person, too. 2 years after the incident, I look back at everything that's changed. The scar on my side is barely visible now, just a thin line. The emotional scars took longer to heal, but they did. I've built a career I'm proud of, made meaningful changes, and helped countless patients. The girl who once supported someone else's dreams now has her own, and I'm living them. Sometimes I think about that night in the waiting room. The pain, the fear, the betrayal. It was the worst experience of my life. It was also the catalyst for everything that followed. I didn't just survive that night. I transformed it into purpose. I turned my pain into power, my suffering into change. That's not revenge, that's resilience. My parents visit my new office, marveling at how far I've come. We always knew you were capable of great things, my mom says, tears in her eyes. My dad just hugs me tight. Rachel frames the magazine article featuring my work and gives it to me. For the days you doubt yourself, she says. Remember what you accomplished. I hang it in my office, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. A reminder that speaking up matters. That holding people accountable matters. That one person can make a difference, and most importantly, that we don't have to let our worst moments define us. We can let them refine us instead. The bleeding patient in the waiting room became the VP who changed everything. That's my story. That's my truth. That's my victory.